Hey, I'm Kevin with Godlike. Welcome back to Tone Talk episode 7, part 3. Phil from Monster Magnet sitting in, rocking the guitar, and we're talking about the new Maxon Fuzz Elements pedals. 7 fuzzes designed to emulate vintage fuzz pedals from the 60s and 70s. We just did the Univox Super Fuzz. We'll stick with the Japanese based theme, and we're going to move on to the infamous Roland Bee Baa.
Now, Bee Baa.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about this pedal. This is Phil's vintage version.
Another wicked pedal. You know what I mean? I always loved. It's similar to the Super Fuzz that you have, the selection of the type of fuzz. That was always really cool to me, and a really thick sounding fuzz.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It had that whole low end. At the time, it's almost an alternative to a big muff at the time, you know what I mean? And just to have the different settings was always great, to have that, in my world. And I always just loved the way it sounded.
Cool.
I love how big and gnarly it looks.
Did you use this on any records? Can you recall using it?
I've used this on a ton of different recordings.
Yep.
Which ones, it's hard to remember.
Yep.
Like Dave and I, when we, it looks like a spaghetti factory.
Yeah,
There's a ton of different cables. Pedals all over the floor. It's
cool.
Hard to remember which actually what recordings we've used this on, but it's been there for sure.
Awesome. Okay, so
we go with the Maxon first.
I figured we'd start with the Bee Baa, so people could hear hear that first, hear what the original's supposed to sound like. You guys may have noticed that the Bee Baa has 3 foot switches and the Maxon only has 2. There's one function on the Bee Baa, this treble booster, which is like a separate individual boost that can be kicked in if you want it. For whatever reason, space constraints or whatever, Maxon decided to leave that out. But you do have the foot switchable tone selection for the fuzz, so we're going to toggle between the 2 of those. Okay, so I'm going to be pressing a lot of buttons here. So here we go. This is the AF100 Bee Baa. Nice. I don't want to shut it off.
Right.
Sounds nice.
Nicest thing,
Yeah,
right?
here's the Maxon. Cool.
A lot of the same properties, what I mean? It's real, it's sustains. Like, I always felt that, like, we checked these out before. This one was, like, just really dead on to the Bee Baa for some reason. It just has all the same characteristics that the original has.
They're real close, if not identical. We're also going to toggle between, what I'm going to do now is let Phil play. I'm going to A-B a little bit.
Awesome.
Again, like the Bee Baa, in my understanding, it's just it's a very bottom heavy fuzz.
Yes,
it's with a little bit of
thick.
upper octave harmonic to it as well, just like very similar to the Super Fuzz.
Yeah, not quite as much.
Not as aggressive. It's a little smoother. But the cool thing is, just like the Super Fuzz, you have this foot switchable tone setting where you could get 2 distinct different fuzz tones. This one's more of the scooped setting. The other one's more kind of a little bump in the mids. So we'll toggle between those right now. Okay, right. So again, we'll start with the
That's great.
Yeah,
that's really great.
I mean, sitting here, it's just they nailed it. You know.
Yeah, and I know from my experience too that the Bee Baas are really temperamental.
Yeah,
really temperamental pedals. The switching, you know, I'm always sitting there.
Which we just dealt with a little bit. I was spraying it out.
You gotta have a, ready to spray them out when you need to.
Yeah,
that's a problem with some of the vintage stuff too. Is that bringing this stuff on the road. It's almost impossible this day and age to bring vintage pedals out unless you're playing a local show or something like that. But night in and night out, I can't rely on them.
Yeah,
and that's a drag.
Yeah, and not to mention the price tag with I think a vintage Bee Baa, if going for about $5 at this point. Yeah, so there you go. That is Fuzz Elements Fire, designed to emulate the Roland AF100 Bee Baa. So we're digging it. Coming back at you with four more fuzzes.
There we go.
Stay tuned.
Getting fuzzed out.
Okay, Tone Talk.